All right, everybody, welcome in. Happy Friday. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We're wrapping up the week, but we have a ton to get into. In fact, I want to know, I thought that the biggest domino in the NFL head coaching search was John Harbaugh. And I thought that once John Harbaugh got hired, I thought that the other dominoes would start to fall. What is the holdup? Why are we not seeing more teams fill their coaching vacancies? Now, I say that. I guess let me go to the old Twitter machine and hit refresh. But I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything as of late that has shown that any team has made any decision as far as that goes. So that's something I want to keep an eye on and talk about. Why have more teams not pulled the trigger on some of these big names? But because before John Harbaugh, was fired by the Ravens, before Mike Tomlin stepped away from the Pittsburgh Steelers, everyone said Kevin Stefanski. That's the name that's at the top of everybody's wish list. And then you start to see some other names kind of hit the coaching free agent market. One of those, I like Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel's name. He's gotten to the point now to where we're starting to see him get coordinator interviews. Now, that could be strategically on his part, because I do think that if you are Mike McDaniel, you do have to be a little careful, mainly because of the fact that, okay, you have been a head coach with the Dolphins. It went well for a bit. I still think Mike McDaniel's a solid head coach. If it comes out today, Mike McDaniel is going to be the Browns head coach, I'm fine with that. I'm not against that. I have no problem with it. But at the same time, he has to be careful, because if he goes to Cleveland and loses, you got fired because things started trending in the right direction in Miami, but then it flatlined and then it ended poorly. And then you go to Cleveland with the blank slate and it doesn't go well there. You may never get a head coaching job again if you stink at your first two stops. I think that's why Kevin Stefanski has to be a little careful, although he had more success in Cleveland technically than Mike McDaniel with the Dolphins. So Mike McDaniel could be trying to play it safe. If I do go to the Detroit Lions and I'm the OC there and we have a lot of success, I could kind of sit back and see what the head coaching landscape looks like a year from now. I think that makes a lot of sense there. One other update to the Cleveland Browns apparently are doing a second interview with Jim Schwartz. I thought that was kind of goofy, mainly because Jim Schwartz has been in your building for years now. You've already interviewed him once for your head coaching position, and at first that kind of felt like you threw out the head coaching interview to Reese, your offensive coordinator, and to your defensive coordinator, kind of like a thank you, like you've been with us for a while. We do want to interview you. We'll give you a shot to interview for the job. What are you learning? I saw James Rapine, who covers the Bengals. He kind of tweeted this out earlier. He was responding to someone. I don't even know who he was responding to, but he brought up a good point. What are you learning about Jim Schwartz in the second interview that you already didn't know about him from the first interview, that you already didn't know from his time being in the building for the last 3 years as defensive coordinator? Okay, he just wrapped up year 3 as head coach. As defensive coordinator. The first year, top 5 defense. Last year, things went a little rough. This year, back to a top 5 defense. So it is what it is. But the Giants, another update from ESPN's Adam Schefter. The Giants and John Harbaugh are still working through the details of their contract. So it's technically not a done deal yet. Harbaugh's the head coach of the Giants. We don't need to really kind of sit there and hold our breath about that. The final issue, it's not over money, according to Adam Schefter. It's over the language of the contract. There's no derailment and nothing has changed, one source said. Talks continue and the two sides are working to get it across the finish line nonetheless. So there's that. But like I said, there's not major updates. There's nothing that has really been brewing ever since we found out that John Harbaugh was going to become the head coach of the Giants. I thought that was the biggest domino, that the first domino, that once it fell, everything else was going to start falling as well. And it's just been quiet. I don't get it. I don't understand it, but nonetheless, we'll see what happens. By this time next week, I do expect Cleveland to have a head coach. I would be very shocked if I'm doing this show with you guys next Friday and we're still sitting here wondering who the head coach of the Cleveland Browns is going to be moving forward. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. NFL playoffs continue this coming weekend. The divisional round of the playoffs, the Bills, who won in their wild card matchup last week against the Jaguars. They came from behind to win, it wasn't a pretty win, but a win's a win, especially in the postseason. And it sets up a Bills-Broncos divisional playoff matchup. Denver is a 1.5 favorite. All right. And it's at Mile High, 4:30 kickoff on CBS this Saturday. So tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, you'll get the 49ers at the Seahawks out of the NFC. And that game's going to be in Seattle. Seattle is a 7-point favorite. And then on Sunday, the Texans and the Patriots. The Texans, and Kev Nash and I were just talking about this when he was in a little bit ago. I don't know. I mean, the Texans put up 30 points against the Steelers. Now, the defense helped. The defense scored some points, but they put up 30 points and didn't play a great game. The Patriots are a 3-point favorite. Everyone's just assuming the Patriots are the favorite to come out of the AFC. But I got to say, when you think about the Bills and the Broncos and the Texans and the Patriots are going to be the popular pick. I have no clue who to pick between the Bills and the Broncos, but because of the Texans' defense that travels, I have no clue who to pick in this one. The easy pick is the Patriots. Or I should say the popular pick is the Patriots, but let's be clear. The Patriots' offense hasn't been the smoothest thing all season. It's been one of the better offenses just because there hasn't been a whole lot of dominant offenses out there, but the Patriots are the most balanced team remaining. They have the best offense with the best, I shouldn't say the best offense and the best defense, but they have the most well-rounded team. Their offense complements their defense and vice versa. That's why they should be the favorite. The Texans, I like them on paper offensively. CJ Stroud just has not returned to the dominant quarterback that he looked like in his rookie season, but we know what the offense is capable of. They can run the football. They have solid pass catchers. CJ Stroud should be better than what he has been, but to his credit, ever since coming into the league as a rookie, they've made the playoffs every year. The Texans were one of the worst franchises in the NFL. They draft C.J. Stroud. They get a new head coach. Everything has been working smoothly. They win every year. They've made the playoffs every year. And not just that, but they have won a playoff game every year. C.J. Stroud has won a playoff game every single season. For 3 straight seasons, his first 3 seasons as an NFL quarterback, he has made the playoffs. He has won in the playoffs. But he has never won 2 games in the playoffs, and we'll see if he can get it done on Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock on ESPN and ABC. And then the nightcap, out of the NFC, the Rams and the Bears. The Bears are a 4.5-point dog at home. The Rams are a 4.5 point favorite on the road. The Bears just give up too many big plays, and you're going up against an offense. They score off big plays. I mean, the Rams offense, it's not the most efficient, but they're explosive. They're not pretty. It's why the other day when we were talking about if you're a Bengals fan, look at the teams remaining in the playoffs. Which playoff team kind of most resembles who the Bengals are? Like, if you're the Bengals, which team remaining in the playoffs can you look at and say, oh, yeah, we're them, but, we're close to being them? And I think it's the Rams. Because you watch the Bengals, statistically, the most electrifying offense in the NFL, but they're a tough watch sometimes. It's not a pretty watch. They don't run the football effectively. You'll get big bursts from, of course, Brown. You'll get big drives. You'll get big plays, but, a lot of times they grind it. And then they wow you with a big explosive play. That's the Rams. And what they do, I think it not really exposes because we know the Bears' deficiencies. I think I think that's a matchup problem for the Bears. I think that's why the Rams are a 4.5 point favorite. That's the playoff game I'm the most excited for. The Bills-Broncos, I think that can get ugly. I think that can get ugly. I think that the Bills' defense is solid. Broncos' offense, you can give it resistance, and it doesn't look great. The Bills' offense, all their guys are injured, basically. They do have a strong run game. I think that's going to be an ugly, grinded-out game at the Mile High. The game I'm most excited for, I think the most exciting game of the weekend is going to be that Rams-Bears game. I'm excited about that Rams-Bears game when it's all said and done. I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. I want to get into the Reds coming up in a moment. The Justin Kinner Show live from Reds Fest. I'll be in Cincinnati tomorrow. We'll be on the air from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's just me. Just me live at Reds Fest. We're going to kick off the show, from what I'm told, with Phil Castellini. I also got confirmation today that Reds general manager, he's going to join the Justin Kinner Show tomorrow with me live from Reds Fest. And they'll continue to give me a lineup of some of the players working out, getting Terry Francona on the Justin Kinner Show as well. So we'll keep you updated on that. But Nick Krall, I shouldn't say the general manager, the president of baseball operations, excited to chat with him because they just made another move last night that could be a precursor to another move. It was a salary dump. They move on from Gavin Lux in a 3-team deal. But what does that mean for the Reds moving forward? We'll talk about all of that and more when we come back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real. And I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call.
Or annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like rugs. And people say a rug would really bring the room together. And sure, you don't know what that means, but it sounds important. Suddenly you're using words like jute and sisal. Then you see the price and lose it, because how can the thing you walk and spill on cost so much? So you devote your life to taking down Big Rug. But then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds. So looks like Big Rug is safe. For now. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner back with you here on a Friday. Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. So the Justin Kinner Show you can catch every weekday, 3 o'clock, 3 to 5, right here on 1410 Wing AM. But we'll have a special Saturday edition of the Justin Kinner Show, live from Reds Fest. So tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., if you're going to Reds Fest, keep an eye out for us. We'll be up doing the show there. We'll kick off the show with Phil Castellini. Nick Crawl, President of Baseball Operations for the Reds, is going to be on with us as well. And we have a lot to talk about because although, and we talked about it lightly yesterday, the Reds have not had the offseason that we truly wanted. I think the highlight of the offseason was that time that we almost got Kyle Schwarber. But we didn't get Kyle Schwarber. And I feel like that was my concern at the beginning. I almost would have preferred that they not even try to go get Kyle Schwarber, because by them not going to get Kyle Schwarber, I think we would be able to appreciate more what they've done this offseason. Look, we do know that like pitching was the identity of the Reds last year was their pitching, starting pitching. The bullpen in stints helped carry the Reds. There was many stretches where the bullpen was beyond impressive. The bullpen was good. It just didn't have depth, and it still missed. Like they didn't have a good representation of lefties in there. So that didn't help. And that's one thing that the Reds have really said, you know what, this offseason, that's going to be our number one focus while trying to acquire a bat to put in the middle of this order. And they haven't been able to do that. All right. They haven't been able to do that. And that's led to a lot of people, being frustrated. And I understand that. But as I said on yesterday's show, if we are constantly more obsessed with what the Reds did not add on the roster instead of being appreciative of what is on this roster, I don't understand how we're ever going to be able to truly appreciate just how talented that this team technically is. There's more talent on this team than you guys want to give it credit for. And yesterday, Nick Craw, President of Baseball Operations, and Brad Meter, Reds General Manager, they pull off another trade, and they were able to make something happen yesterday. So Gavin Lux is no longer a Cincinnati Red. The Cincinnati Reds traded Gavin Lux to the Rays in a 3-team deal. They, in return, received left-handed reliever Brock Burke from the Angels. Now, Brock Burke is a 29-year-old pitcher, experienced, had a 3.36 ERA and 69 appearances last season with the Angels. And most importantly, very good against lefties. He held left-handed batters to hitting 699 last season. As far as the OPS is concerned, he held them to a 699 OPS. But they get Brock Burke from the Angels, and they continue to keep adding to that deep bullpen. That bullpen is one of the best in baseball now. All right. I mean, your 5 righties in the bullpen: Emilio Pagan, Tony Santillan, Graham Ashcraft, who Graham Ashcraft was always interesting to me because Graham Ashcraft started out very similar. Like Andrew Abbott throws very good stuff. Graham Ashcraft threw really good stuff in the beginning as well as a starter, and then it just started regressing. 2 years ago, we thought that was the final season of Graham Ashcraft, but to his credit, was willing to accept a role in the bullpen and didn't hang his head that he couldn't cut it out as a starter. He was interesting though, because he could give you 3 to 4 really good innings. He can give you 3 really good innings, and then that 4th and 5th inning would started to kind of taper off a bit. And it was like he could get you deep enough into games that there's something there, so you don't want to prematurely move him to the bullpen. But we saw enough to know that he couldn't pitch deep into games. but you knew he was good enough to give you 1-2 legitimate strong-ass innings, and that's what he does. I love Graham Ashcraft in the bullpen, and he was phenomenal last year. The Reds went out and acquired Pierce Johnson, who they made that final, I believe, yesterday or the day before. They made it final this week. They added Caleb Ferguson. That was one of the bigger moves that they made and spent some good money there. They spent a lot of money on Caleb Ferguson and Pierce Johnson. I mean, they've spent close to 15 to 20 mil alone just on the bullpen. I shouldn't say 20 mil, but I mean, 10 mil alone is going to Emilio Pagan, who they were able to get to come back. Pierce Johnson, Caleb Ferguson, 2 additions right there. Pierce Johnson, a righty, Caleb Ferguson, a lefty, and then Brock Burke, a lefty, who they just added recently as well. Connor Phillips is going to be in that bullpen along with Sam Ball. I like this Reds bullpen. I love their rotation. I really like this bullpen, and I'm okay with the lineup knowing that it needs a little more help. It needs a little more help. Nick Kroll, president of baseball operations for your Cincinnati Reds, had this to say on the decision to move Gavin Lux and go out and acquire, make the move that they did to acquire Brock Burke in a 3-team trade from the Angels. Here's Nick Kroll.
Yeah, I think, we, over the last few weeks, we signed J.J. Bleday. We were looking at the roster, and, we just looked at, okay, obviously we've been trying to add some position players and get our position player group better. But we felt this was a way to add a left-handed reliever to continue to solidify our bullpen. And we, with where Gavin was and adding some of the guys we did, and even guys like Sal Stewart that came up at the end of the year, trying to figure out the best way for everybody, best place for everybody to play. We felt it was probably best to see if we can move Gavin for something else that could help our team. And that's what we did.
So I like that. It was the end piece right there where he said, to move Gavin to help improve this team. Now, Gavin Lux is a solid. I liked him on the bench. I liked him when he started. I liked him when he played every day. He was okay, but he had limitations as far as he wasn't as versatile to move around, to get the most out of this lineup. And I've always said this too. I'm not a big fan of this approach, but I know that the Reds are never going to be an organization that could afford a dominant second, third, right fielder, first baseman. They're not going to get it all. So they try to go get as many Swiss Army knives as possible. Guys that could play at second, play short, play third, play some outfield. But my pushback on that has always been, do I want a guy that could be pretty good at second, solid at short, okay at first, or do I just want one really good kick-ass second baseman? I would like some of the positions on the Reds to just be some solid kick-ass first baseman, a solid kick-ass third baseman. I would love a dominant right fielder. That's just a right fielder. That's not a third baseman that they're trying to see if he could play right field because they went out to get the best, Brian Hayes, the best defensive third baseman. Now, I think it's going to be okay. I like Noelvi Marte looked solid in right last year, and that seems to be the direction they're heading in for him this year. TJ Friedel, they made the decision that they were not going to trade him and move on from him. They got a deal done in arbitration, and I like TJ Friedel. Low key I think he's one of the more underrated center fielders in baseball. But, because you don't move on from TJ Friedel, because you're putting Noelvi Marte in right, you have to put Spencer Steer in left. You need a power bat, but where's that power bat going to come from? And if you get that power bat, where are you going to put him? Because you're not moving on from Noelvi Marte and you're not moving on from Spencer Steer, which is ironic because Spencer Steer, one of the best defensive first basemen. So I again, they have a lot of really good Swiss Army knives. But sometimes I don't know. Like I said, sometimes I just want a guy that, hey, he's not that good at third. He's not that good at first. That's great. I just need him to be elite at something. And I just believe the Reds have a lot of guys that are really good at this, really good at that. And that's why the Reds are just good. But for the Reds to be elite, for them to go to that next level, they need more players that are definitive right fielder, definitive third baseman. Like Brian Hayes is your definitive third baseman. I'm willing to accept that, but you have to overcompensate for that in other positions. Like Brian Hayes, the best defensive third baseman in baseball, super. Love it. But and I think a lot of that was their stubbornness because they don't want to move. They needed a lock, like they needed to shore up that side of the infield because they know Ellie's deficiencies at shortstop for right now. Maybe this year it all comes together, but like you can't have an average third baseman and a hole at short like they basically do with Ellie right now. So with the range that Brian Hayes has, it's one of those where they kind of have to sacrifice the offense a bit to have a definitively good defensive third baseman to kind of make up for some of the errors and the issues that exist with Ellie playing short. Or you can move Ellie to the outfield and go get a solid shortstop that is a consistent offensive force, but a consistent defensive force as well. And just got to overcompensate in other areas. But this team, they're hard to figure out. I like this team. Vegas has picked this team. They put their over under their win total at about 83.5. I think this is anywhere between an 85 and an 88 win team. But if they get a power bat, and if Blade and these guys hit, that could be that 88 to 90 win range. Because we're forgetting about the pitching. For years, we kept saying, man, the Reds need to solidify this pitching. They have a homegrown outside, and I've said this before, outside of course, Brady Singer, they have a homegrown rotation. They've invested fully into this bullpen, and they have a capable lineup. So they moved on from Gavin Lux to do what? They freed up, I think what I read today, about $2.5-3 million. Was this move done to set up another move? That's what Nick Krall was asked about. Here's Nick Krall.
No, we're just still looking to add to our position player group. If we can, figure out how to use that money and get someone else. But we felt this was a good move for us. Just adding a left-handed reliever.
Try to downplay it and just say, hey, we were just trying to add a left-handed reliever. I mean, yeah. This bullpen is one of the most balanced bullpens I could remember in my time being a Reds fan. It's one of the best Reds bullpens I've seen as far as balance is concerned. To have three lefties in Ferguson, Maul, and Burke, and then to have Pagan and Santillan, and to have guys just the depth that they have is truly unbelievable. The talent in the rotation from Hunter Green, who's a Cy Young candidate, to Nick Lodolo, to Andrew Abbott, who I think was as good as Hunter Green last year. Burns, who you just called up last year, he had a stretch of 4 straight games of 10 or more strikeouts last year. Man, they're this close. And everyone needs to dial it back, in my opinion, because we're spending way too much time talking about who's not on this roster instead of focusing on what is. And to the Reds' credit, they keep adding. I think Nick Krall is doing a solid job. I think, and I've said this consistently, I'm not saying this because he's on the show tomorrow. I've always said that I think we give a little bit too much blame to him. If this was Nick Krall's team, if Nick Krall was the owner of the Reds and it was his checkbook, it's easy for me to spend Castellini's money and you. It's not easy spending Castellini's money when you're Nick Krall, when you're not given all of Castellini's money to spend. So he's going to the store with a large list of items that they need and a minimum budget, and he's trying to feed a family of 10. I think he's doing a pretty damn good job. Could he do better? Yes. It's all about results, but I think the results speak for themselves. They said the goal was to turn around the bullpen. They didn't just turn it around. This is an elite bullpen now. They have an elite rotation, elite bullpen. The rest has to come together. But as you heard him say, that yes, they're still looking to add to their position group players. A bat. That's ultimately what he's trying to say, is a bat, nonetheless. All right, I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio, 937-518-1410. You can text or call. Reds fans, do you like this move? I think we need a new rule on the show. I no longer want, because you guys are all being crybabies. Oh, we didn't get Kyle Schwarber. I know we didn't, but they didn't get Kyle Schwarber. That doesn't mean the season's done. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be an opening day. That doesn't mean that, this team made the playoffs without Kyle Schwarber and the deficiencies last year. So let's stop with the woe is us crap and let's start getting excited about this upcoming season. We're going to have spring training baseball right here on this station less than a month from now. The Reds are coming off a playoff season. They're more experienced. Year 2 of Francona. They have an elite bullpen. The rotation is going to be even better. And it sounds like they're not done. 937-518-1410. Do you like what Nick Krall has done with the bullpen? I think it's a top 10 bullpen in baseball. To complement a top 10 rotation. 937-518. You can 1410. You could text or call. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Man, I love seeing the old gang at these reunions.
Did you see Brian? He's in better shape than he was 25 years ago. How is that even possible?
Yep, I ran into him a few weeks ago and had to ask. He told me he started taking Nugenix Total T2.
The testosterone booster?
Yeah, but it's way more than that now. It also skyrockets your nitric oxide in as little as 3 hours. I started taking it right away and I'm already seeing results.
I was wondering what you were doing. You seriously crushed me in that pickup game last week.
Yep, after 40, energy, strength, drive, it all starts going downhill. But with T2, I feel like my old self again. Stronger, leaner, and my energy is way up. My wife even noticed a difference. They're giving out complimentary bottles right now. Just send them a text.
Text TAP to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of new Nugenix Total T2. Text now and you'll also get a free bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator. That's TAP to 215-215. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Product not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Are you ready to tackle this tax season alone? Well, you don't have to. Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services, with its 30-plus years of experience, is here to help you with business and individual taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll, either in person, drop-off, or through their secure client portal. Belmont Business Consultants in Eaton and Dayton is standing by. Call them in Eaton at 937-472-3300 or in Dayton at 937-252-2217 or on the web at belmontbctxs.com.
My husband's an animal in bed.
Well, you know.
Not in the fun way. Think warthog. With a chainsaw.
Snoring and sleep apnea affect over 90 million people, and 1 out of 4 couples sleep in separate rooms. Advent can help. We've been your one-stop solution for nasal congestion, snoring, and sleep apnea for over 20 years. Unlike many other practices, we focus exclusively on these conditions, so you get comprehensive care under one roof. Advent's unique approach can help you breathe and sleep better, and many avoid a CPAP. Plus, most insurance is accepted for our effective 20-minute in-office treatments.
Hey, the only animal you want in your bed is your dog.
Advent. Sleep better. Sleep together. Learn how you can improve your life at adventknows.com.
Arrowhead Tax Service in New Carlisle is more than a tax preparer. We're your friend. Stop and see Michael Maxwell and Joe Tannis at their new office at 100 South Church Street in New Carlisle. Whether you have personal or business taxes, Michael and Joe are here to take care of all the details for you, down to the last penny. Allow our experience to ease the burden of doing it yourself. Make an appointment at 937-543-5770 or online at arrowheadtaxservice.com, where our target is your satisfaction.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and you can get up to a $5 cashback bonus on your first tank.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SUPPLY to get up to a $5 cashback bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime. Write your bank to PayPal or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SUPPLY to get up to a $5 cashback bonus on your first tank. That's code SUPPLY for up to a $5 cashback bonus.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
We welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., the Justin Kinner Show live from Reds Fest. I'll be joined by Phil Castellini right off the bat. They said between 11 and 11:15, he's going to jump on the show with me. We're going to get Nick Krall. We just heard from Nick Krall, his comments regarding the motivation to move on from Gavin Lux and a 3-team deal that ultimately, landed the Reds another elite piece in their bullpen as they traded Gavin Lux in a 3-team deal. Lux ends up with the Rays. and the Reds receive left-handed pitcher Brock Burke. Brock Burke, last year in 69 appearances for the Rays, a 3.36 ERA. And left-handed batters had a 699 OPS against him. So another weapon in that bullpen to throw out there after what has been a very busy offseason when it comes to obviously refurbishing that bullpen. And that's kind of where we're at as we sit here right now. Again, we welcome you back to the Justin Kinder Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. How we feel about this, how we feel about what the Reds have done activity-wise. I kind of like what the Reds have done. But they didn't get that. I get that. And if they would have got Kyle Schwarber and then didn't fix the bullpen, you'd be bitching about not fixing the bullpen. Well, Kinder, they could do both. You're very much so right. But they can't. I don't like it. I don't like that this team doesn't spend money like the rest. We're going to talk about the Dodgers in a moment. We also need to stop bad-mouthing the Dodgers. But you guys know my take on this. I think that, there's way too many organizations like the Reds that have way too many restrictions that prevent them from doing their job. Your job is to put a winning, contending team out on the field. Technically, the Reds are doing that, but are they doing it to the best of their ability? I guess you kind of have to say yes. I think you have to say, yes, the Reds are doing it to the best of their ability because of what their limitations are. And that's not me complimenting them, because the Reds doing it to the best of their ability doesn't technically benefit me. That's why the Reds front office, if you ask them, they're going to say, we feel like we had a very good offseason. They did have a very good offseason based on their budget, based on what they were allowed to spend and what they were allowed to do. Here are the rules and the parameters of how this is the front office being given instructions from ownership. They have bosses. Nick Krall has a boss, just like I have a boss. You have a boss. I work for Connoisseur Media, not Justin Kinner Media. Kev Nash is my boss. You can ask him. I am a pain in the ass. I am constantly fighting to do X, Y, and Z. And to our company's credit, they are giving us more than any of our previous companies have. We love this new company that's taken over right now. We're having a blast. There's a lot of cool new things coming your way for listeners as well. I mean, the bottom line is I'm constantly asking. I'm getting more now because of our new ownership. But our previous ownership, I couldn't get a T-shirt to give you. Okay. I couldn't, it's not that I didn't want to give you guys anything. It's not that I didn't want to provide prizes. We're going to be loaded up with concert tickets throughout the rest of this year. I'm going to be sending you to Buckeye Country Superfest. There's going to be so many things that we're doing this year that we weren't able to technically do consistently in the past. It's not that I didn't want to. We just couldn't. So that's how these guys operate. It's not Nick Krall's team. It's not Brad Meter's team, but it is their job to go make decisions on behalf of the team based on what they are allowed to do, what they are allowed to spend. And that's the reality of it. Oh, I can't believe Nick Krall said that they're going to spend the same as last year. Well, Nick Krall said it verbally, but Nick Krall is repeating it because those were the rules that were given to him by said bosses, by said owners. We can all relate to Nick Krall. Getting mad at Nick Krall doesn't make any sense to me. Nick Krall it's not the Cincinnati Kralls. It's not Reds owner Nick Krall. It's Reds president of baseball operations / GM, Brad Meter, the GM. They are given a budget. They are given a set of rules. They are given a set of restrictions, and they get to go out and operate that. That's why I laugh when everyone says, well, the Dodgers, their GM. By the way, let's type in. Who is the Dodgers general manager? The Dodgers general manager, okay? Brandon Gomes. Okay, he was promoted to the role of general manager in January of 2022. He also serves as the executive vice president. Now, let me ask you guys this. We need to get rid of Nick Krall. We need to go get a proven general manager. Let's go get Brandon Gomes. By all means, let's go get Brandon Gomes. Okay, cool. Nick Krall, we've given you the boot. Deuces. See ya, you bum. Right? Brandon Gomes comes in. Brandon Gomes, right? Like, this guy's unbelievable. I mean, Brandon Gomes, can you believe that he was able to convince Shohei Ohtani to be a Dodger? I mean, I don't know what he said to get him to convince him to be a Dodger, but he got him to be a Dodger. How cool is that? I mean, how about Brandon Gomes going to get Freddie Freeman? How cool is that? I mean, why couldn't Nick Craw get Freddie Freeman? Why couldn't Nick Craw? Nick Craw is a bum. He couldn't get Shohei Ohtani to be a Red. Can you guys believe that? But Brandon Gomes, he got him to be a Dodger. I think that what the Reds need to do is they need to go out and they need to get Brandon Gomes to be their GM, and then all the good players will start coming to the Reds, right? Isn't that how this works? Nick Craw he can't get good players to come here, so he's a bad GM, right? Is that how you guys think? If only the Reds had Brandon Gomes as their GM, they could have got Kyle Tucker to join the Cincinnati Reds. Guys, do you realize how ridiculous you sound when you guys rip Nick Craw? Nick Craw can go to the Dodgers, and then guess who gets Kyle Tucker? Nick Craw. Nick Craw can go be the GM of the Dodgers, and guess what Nick Craw's going to do? He's also going to get Shohei Ohtani, because I don't think Brandon Gomes is very good at his job either. His job's easy. That's why I always I think of mid-major sports. I'm like, I always appreciate mid-major coaches, football or basketball at the smaller level, of course. Like when you can go get the really, really good players to come to your school, you're having to out-recruit the bigger schools. I think your job's way harder. I don't think it's hard to be. That's why when everyone was saying, man, Brian Hartline, I can't believe how good of a recruiter he is. He's unbelievable. Do you see the wide receivers he got to Ohio State? Oh, yes. I'm sure it was very hard for him to go out on the recruiting trail and say, hey, wide receiver prospect, do you want a lot of money? Oh, you do. Do you want to play for the Ohio State University? Oh, you do. Do you want to have a future NFL quarterback throwing you the football? Oh, you do? Oh, do you want to compete for a national championship? Oh, you do. All right. Well, it's going to be tough, but let me convince you why you should come. You already did. It's not hard. I could be the wide receivers coach for Ohio State. I may not coach up anybody, but I sure as hell can go recruit for Ohio State. You could. Hey, you want a lot of money? You want to play for a championship contender? Do you want to have an NFL quarterback throwing you the football? Boom. That's it. I just need a little index card to write those 3 questions down. I'm going to sit down with those prospects and read those 3 questions. They're all going to say yes, and then I'm just going to hand them a little intent form. They're going to sign the form, and we're all going to go on our merry way. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Same thing in baseball. Brandon Gomes, I'm sure he's a good person. I know nothing about him. In fact, I didn't know his name until I Googled it right when this segment started. It's not hard to be the GM for the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani, how much money you want? Oh, cool. Yeah, come be a Dodger. How much money you want? Do you want to come compete for World Series and be the face of baseball? Yeah, cool. Hey, Kyle Tucker, great year last year with the Cubs, by the way. That was cool. Do you want to make more money with us than you did with the Cubs? Yeah. Oh, do you want to, you were on a playoff contender with the Cubs, but do you want to be a World Series contender with us? Oh, yeah. And you want to make $60 million a year? Come on down. Guys, stop ripping Nick Craw. Nick Craw's not bad because he can't get the Kyle Tuckers and the Shohei Otanis and the Freddie Freemans and the Mookie Betts of the world and the Kyle Schwarbers. He's just not. And I just think it's silly when we do this. Oh, got to get rid of Nick Craw. We can't do that. Can't do that. 937-518-1410. I like this deal for the Reds, by the way. Gavin Lux. I liked Gavin Lux. There's just limitations with them, and they need, they have more flexibility this year. They have more guys. Stewart. Everyone's talking about a power bat. I think Stewart's going to be a power bat. I would love to see another power bat added. And it sounds like with this trade that the money that they freed up with it, they're going to go out and explore getting another one. Shout out to Doug Toby. Doug Toby says he believes that they're going to re-sign Andujar in May or June. If you're struggling offensively, there will be somebody to trade for. Reds are cheap. The Reds are cheap, but the Castellinis are cheap. They're spending what's given to. I mean, it's frustrating. It is. I can't tell you to be happy with the team, but just redirect your blame from Nick Craw. I hate every time I see Nick Craw's name pop up, people just rip the guy because I'm like, given the restrictions he's given, what else do you want him to do? If the Castellini said, Nick Craw, this is the only money you're allowed to spend, and Kyle Schwarber says, no, I want more, what's he supposed to do? But I like the Andujar. Doug, I'm with you, though. Andujar, I feel like is a safe name. Like when they got him at the deadline last year, that was a very underrated move. He was not on every time the media puts out potential trade prospects for the Reds. He wasn't on any of those. That's why I also like Nick Krall. He's very good at really kind of sifting through everything. There was no reporting on Andujar last year, and he was a great addition, and he was one of their most consistent bats in the back half of the season that helped propel them back into the playoff conversation when they went on those big win streaks late in the final month of the season. He was a part of that. I wish they would bring him back, but I think that they're saying, hey, if we bring him back, it's the last resort because we're trying for a bigger swing to go younger and to get a guy that they could lock up maybe a year, 2 years at most. Who knows? But I'm with you. I like the Andujar move. Doug Toby also said, are the Reds better, worse, or the same? Oh, I think this team's better. I think this team's way better because at the end of the day, it's all about pitching. It's all about pitching. And if the Reds would have got Kyle Schwarber, that would have absorbed all their money. They would have brought back, obviously Emilio Pagan, but they would not have been able to go out and make the other moves that they were able to do. They wouldn't have been able to get Pierce Johnson. They wouldn't have been able to get Caleb Ferguson, Brock Burke, another good lefty. I mean, Ferguson and Burke, those two lefties added to the bullpen. This team, in my opinion, I think this team's significantly better. This team is significantly better just because of those additions right there. I'm a fan. All right, to the phones we go. Shaw, you're on live, sir. Welcome.
How you doing, man?
Another day in paradise. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. I'm not mad at Krall. I'm mad at the organization. I'm just tired of the same song and dance every year. And they would sit there and they claim that they don't have money and they don't have this and they don't have that, while organizations and populations of cities have less money than they do, and they go out and they spend money. I'm tired of it. It's frustrating to sit here and look at this organization who I believe could actually be on the doorstep of something pretty good if they would just go out there and get some bats that actually want to do something. And then they want to go and take one of the few bats they do have, and they want to trade it away for more pitching. And I understand, and I'm one of the ones that have always said it too. You can never have enough pitching, but at some point you got to put somebody up at the plate. And at this point in time, as we're sitting here right now, there's really only one batter that's hitting about 260, and that name is Ellie De La Cruz. And you're going to need more than Ellie to have any type of offense in baseball today. And I mean, I think I'm not mad that Krall didn't go get Schwarber. I'm not mad at that. My frustration isn't the fact that they didn't get Schwarber. My frustration is just the fact that because they didn't get Schwarber, it was, okay, we have a pretty good defensive team. Let's just go all in on the pitching part of it, and let's just sacrifice all the hitting altogether. That's my frustration with it. And hopefully I find out more tomorrow when I'm down there tomorrow. And maybe something gets beat over my head and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. But right now I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. I just don't.
I mean, you're talking about this roster like it's just bad, and that's just not accurate. You're talking about 83. You're acting like this is the Pirates, dude. Like you're acting like this is the Reds.
Pirates might be better than the Reds.
The Pirates are not better than the Reds. Pirates aren't better than the Reds. They have Paul Skeens. The Reds have one of the best rotations in baseball, a top 10 rotation, a top 10 bullpen, and an offense that was not elite by any means. It was the middle of the pack lineup all last year, and it's in position to be a middle of the pack lineup right now. But again, middle of the pack, I mean, you're putting me in a position for me to brag about middle of the pack, but you're talking as if this is a bottom 5 offense, and that's just not the case either. This was a very situational hitting team last year. I wish they were more consistent. And they're working on that. I do think the addition of Sal Stewart from game 1 through 162 is going to be a huge upgrade as far as that goes. I'm a big believer still in Matt McClain. I hate that he had that setback last year, a great rookie season, full injury riddled sophomore, run with the Reds. And last year got off to a hot start and then he got hurt, never was the same again. It's all going to come down to health. But I believe a healthy Matt McClain is a difference maker. I think Sal Stewart is a big-time difference maker. If we take the Reds at their word that LA truly did play injured all last season, that is a very good explanation for why we did see the inconsistencies at the plate. I think that this team, and I'm falling for the getting naturally better from one season to the next, this is a young roster that is naturally getting better every single season. And it sounds like they have another move up their sleeve. I don't think it's going to be a big move. But I just think whoever they add is just going to be another piece that they can count on. I'm fine with this lineup right now. It needs to be better, yes, but I'm not going to sit here and talk about this and act like the sky's falling. I think this is a very capable team. They were a playoff team last year. They're a playoff team last year. I think they'll be a playoff contender this year.
I'm not acting like the sky's falling. I'm just taking.
I would hate to see if you were then.
I'm just taking this team how it is. We're talking about an 83 win team, like they won 90 some games and they were actually competitive in the playoffs last year. And yeah, half of that's true because they were in the playoffs, but the rest of that is none of it's true. They won 83 games, and we're talking about this team like there's some major division winner right around the corner. They're not. There's a lot of ifs in what you said. There's a lot of ifs. We're banking on Hunter Green going through a season who's healthy. On the paper from top to bottom, yeah, the top line is very good. What's the depth on the roster? There is no depth on this roster. One injury, two injuries, and this team is going to be struggling. We're hoping Matt McClain comes back. We're hoping Stewart actually comes through. We're hoping that all these other guys, while we've lost Lux, while we've lost Hayes.
I don't think losing Lux and Hayes is that big. I don't think those are losses.
What did we replace them with?
When they were here, you were still being doom and gloom when those guys were on the roster, and now you're acting like they're off the roster and now they're screwed.
No, I'm being the same person. I'm not going to sit around here and do rainbows and lollipops because they've added more pitching and they lost the hitting they did have. Yes, you're proving my point. They weren't very good last year, and they lost the guys. I have a point. And you already know what my point is. They're going to be lucky to win 83 this year.
Lucky.
Listen,
I don't think they're going to be lucky to win 83. I think they'll be lucky if the 85 to 88 wins that I predict them to finish with, they'll be lucky if that's good enough to make the playoffs this season. I think this is an 85 to 88 win team. I don't think they'll be lucky to win that. They will be fortunate if winning 85 to 88 games is enough to grab a final wild card spot. Because it did take, the Mets having an epic collapse in the back half of the season last year for the 83 wins to be enough last season. So 85 or whatever their win total was, I think that they're about an 85, 88 win team. I don't think they'll be lucky to do that. I just think that they need a lot to go their way as far as teams around them. Are the Braves going to be as bad as they were last year? The Mets, are they going to bounce back? The Padres, a lot of teams, everyone's going to be keeping eyes on those teams to see how it's all going to shake out.
And all of the Padres are better. The Cubs are probably a little worse, but the Brewers are better. The Cardinals are better. The Pirates are better.
How are the Cardinals better? The Cardinals have just shipped guys off. The Brewers haven't made any big addition in this offseason. They'll be solid. It's the Brewers, yeah. The Cubs got worse. The Brewers, I don't think, did anything to majorly move their roster forward. The Cardinals traded one of their big pieces away. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying the Reds are winning this division. I just don't think that this is a good division.
I just don't see what the Reds did to be 3 to 5 games better, 3 to 8 games better than what they were last year.
I'm not trying to be mean here. I don't care about last year. I care about a team this year with one of the best rotations in baseball. And literally those 3 names that they added, I mean, how versatile this bullpen is now with 3 legitimate lefties. They had no one to go. They had no one to go against lefties last year. Now they have 3 legit dudes to do that. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal at the end of the day.
And who are they going to be combating when the opposing team puts lefties out there?
What?
Who are they going to be putting at the plate when they throw lefties out of their bullpen?
The same guys that put them in position to win the 85 games they did last year.
The 83, yeah, and 2 of those guys are gone.
And
that's my point.
Again, this is all about hoping, yes, for quite a handful of these guys, but that's every team. Every team is hoping that their stars stay healthy.
I think a lot of teams go and they fill depth. They don't sit there and they hope.
I think that's what the Reds did. They leaned into their pitching and added more depth there. Or you could have added one truly expensive bat, and then everyone would have bitched and complained because of all the 1-2 run losses that they have throughout the year because their pitching doesn't, match their lineup. There's no way that this will never be a 3-tool team. It's just never going to be like that.
I was not the guy who was going to sit there and say $25 to $30 million on one player either. I'm the guy who says, take the $25 million that you were going to spend on Schwarber and go get a third baseman and go get a left fielder and possibly even another utility bat. And then let's go attack this the way it needed to be done. And not sit there and say, oh, well, we lost on Schwarber and now we're going to lock everything down and not go do anything. And we're going to piecemeal it together and send that to the fans like they've done for the last 30 years and say, well, I hope you're okay with that and just move on and act like they didn't go do anything now. And then you got Tito coming out, and I'm a Tito guy, but he's really starting to irritate me with the fact of, well, now he's singing a different song and dance now that he's been here a year. Last year at this time, well, this offseason, we're going to go after it. We're going to go get some free agents and we'll go after it. This year, well, I'm not going to talk about the guys we didn't get. I'm going to go talk about the guys we do have.
Because that's all he can do, and that's all we as fans can do.
Or we sit here like it has been since 1995, and we sit here and we hope and we wish.
But I think everyone listening right now hears just the tone in your voice, and I think everyone's like, or we could just be that for 162 games, and that's going to be one crappy-ass summer.
I think if you talk to the majority of Reds fans, they're just fed up. They're fed up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like
those
me.
Same fed-up fans were all excited when the playoffs rolled around last year. Sure, they got disappointed after the games, but I mean, we all do this every year. We do the same song and dance with the Reds every year, and then we're all diehard Reds fans when the season starts. And when they start playing well, they're in a playoff race down the stretch, and we're all excited, and we're tuning in. And yeah, ratings were up for the Reds.
We'll pay attention. We'll pay attention because there's nothing else to pay.
Radio ratings went up. TV ratings went up. Attendance went up. The Reds are fine.
Well,
they could be better, yes, but they're fine.
They're fine. They're fine at 83 to 85 wins, and that's the problem. That's the problem right there.
It's January. Nobody has any wins or any losses right now.
They beat this fan base
negative.
down so bad. No, they've beat this fan base down so bad that we're okay with 83 to 85 wins.
Watch opening day. See how many fans will agree with you.
It's the Reds and opening day. That doesn't tell me anything. Watch a random
you're
Tuesday
saying everyone's
in
defeated.
April.
You're saying everyone's defeated.
Watch a random Tuesday in April and see how many 3,000 fans show up.
Sorry for having a job.
Oh, now it's because they have a job. But all this other stuff is improved and all this other stuff is improved, but yet it's the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they raised the prices of everything, but they want us to talk about how they made more money. Okay. Man, but they made more money,
January,
but they don't want to go.
And you're bitching about April problems that aren't even problems right now.
They make more money, but they never go spend it.
I think they spent it. They just improved this roster. They didn't do it the way you wanted. They did improve this roster. This roster is way better than last year.
The payroll is still 18th in baseball.
This roster is better than last year.
Well, time will tell, and September will come.
There's no time to tell. They went out and got legitimate players to bolster that bullpen.
Where they helped the pitching, they lost in the batting. What? Where they helped pitching, they lost batting. It's a wash to me.
I don't think losing Austin Hayes and Gavin Lux is all of a sudden a major step backwards.
On this team, it is because they were major factors of this offense last year. And that tells you everything you need to know.
You were ripping these guys a year ago, and now they're major losses?
Yes.
And now they're major
because
losses.
They're not on the team anymore. They didn't do anything. I'm not understanding how this is confusing to you.
It's not confusing to me at all. I completely understand you, which is why I'm just baffled as to how you could think that.
How are you?
So the
baffled?
Reds are screwed because the Reds are screwed because they don't have Gavin Lux.
The offense stunk last year. They were barely medium.
It was middle of the pack. It did not stink. It did not stink.
Justin,
there's not one.
I could call.
You could say they were a crappy. You could say they were a crappy power hitting team, yes, but you can't sit there and say. I mean, this team scored runs.
I could call Kev and him bring up the tapes all the time. You talked about this offense not being able to score runs on a consistent basis. They go out and score on a consistent basis, and then they wouldn't be able to score runs on a consistent basis.
They cannot score on a consistent basis. I agree with you. That sounds like a middle of the pack team. It sounds like they could score, just not on a consistent basis. The bad teams can't score at all. The bad teams can't produce runs. The bad teams can't get runners in scoring position.
Mediocre offense.
But I thought it was a bad offense.
And
now
then
it's a
the same
mediocre.
now that same mediocre to slash bad offense doesn't have two of the guys that contributed on that mediocre to bad offense, but you're confused why I say that this offense is worse than what it was last year.
I tell you what, I'm going to call the Reds and cancel Reds Fest and say, you guys traded Gavin Lux. There goes the season. We're done. I ain't doing the show from there tomorrow.
It's fine and dandy. Like, you can sell it all you want, but I'm just here to tell you it's the same song and dance that it has been for the last 35 years. And you just don't like hearing it. That's fine. But I told you in July, August, and September, and October last year, they don't go do anything this offseason, which they haven't, then this is what it's going to be. I'm not going to sit here and buy the Kool-Aid every single offseason and then go into the baseball season and see what I saw the year before and go, oh, it's going to be better this year. We're hoping for 84 wins.
Then don't watch the Reds. Don't go to a game. Don't listen to them. Don't watch them.
Why?
No.
Why
if,
am I going
this,
to? No,
if this
I
is
can
making
go down
you,
there
if
and
you
watch
are this
baseball and not
miserable,
have to be,
if you are this
I
miserable, my goodness, why even tune in? Why even go watch and support the Reds?
Because it's the localest baseball I can go watch and still be able to have to pay a decent price to go watch some baseball live. I can't drive
but why go
8 hours a day after I get off work to
why
go down
watch
to Atlanta
bad
to watch my
baseball?
Braves.
Why? I mean, this is the worst hitting team in baseball.
Because I enjoy
this is the
going
worst
to the ballpark,
organization
that's
in
why.
sports.
It's not the worst. I didn't say all that. Those are your words. Those are your words. Those aren't my words. I didn't say they're the worst organization in sports. The team across the street is the worst organization in sports. Same city, just across the street.
Shaw, hope you have a good weekend. Enjoy Reds Fest.
You
tomorrow.
do too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. 937-518-1410. Would you look at that? We're almost out of time. 937-518-1410. So Shaw says Gavin Lux being traded. The Reds are horrible now because they traded Gavin Lux. They don't have Austin Hayes. They don't have Gavin Lux. And let me be clear. I like Austin Hayes. I like Gavin Lux. If Gavin Lux was on this opening day roster, I wouldn't have minded it. I thought he played well at times last year. But they have a lot of guys that do similar things as him. And by the way, Gavin Lux filled a void for them last year because they weren't sure. I remember when the Reds acquired. I'm going to kill this music real quick. I'm going to keep going on this because now he has me all fired up. I like Gavin Lux. Gavin Lux was acquired a year ago at this time because we really weren't sure what the status of Matt McClain was. All right. We knew Matt McClain was coming off of a season-ending injury. And I remember when that trade happened, everyone was like, ooh, okay, they traded for Gavin Lux. So is this a depth piece or are they telling us that Matt McClain's not going to be ready to go for the season? And it ended up being a little bit of both. It became a little bit of both. But now Matt McClain's completely healthy. All right, you have Elliott Short. You know that obviously Ke'Bryan Hayes is at third base. At first base, obviously, Sal Stewart's going to be, bouncing around there. Spencer Steer can bounce around there. You know that they're just going to have guys that are going to fill that. I hate that, but that's just the reality of it. They don't have like a legit everyday first baseman. That's just how this team operates, right? But like Gavin Lux, they would use him. They need a DH. They need a power bat. They're trying to go find a versatile guy that's going to provide them power. Probably looking for someone that can maybe kind of hang around in that first baseman range, play a little in the outfield. Spencer Steer could play first base at times as well. I don't know, guys. Like this team, it's not a World Series team. They're not the best team in the NL Central, but this is not the Pirates. Stop acting like this is the Pirates. Stop acting as if that this team is just garbage. Stop acting like this team didn't do anything to improve this roster. Stop all of that nonsense. Stop with the constant negativity. That's such a wild way. I'm disappointed and angry that they didn't get Kyle Schwarber, but not to the point to where I'm sitting here questioning whether this team's even going to be good. This team offensively last year was a middle of the pack offense. We talk about it as if they didn't score a run for months. I can't get down with that. I can't be that negative like you guys. I just can't, at least not all of you. All right. I saw some calls coming in. I couldn't take your call during the show. So you guys have to call during the break so that I can get you in line. And then I will be glad to get your opinion and your takes on the air. And by the way, maybe there's a good chance that I'm wrong and Shaw's right. maybe there's an off chance that that's the case. And is that the case? 937-518-1410. Do you guys agree with Shaw? Is this team horrible? Is this team going to be lucky to win 83 games, as he says? I don't think they'll be lucky to win 83 games. Give a top 10 rotation, a top 10 bullpen, an offense that isn't the sexiest, but we talk like it's bottom 5, and it was middle of the pack last year. And at times they were a top 10 team in regards to runs scored on the season. Like, they're inconsistent. They need to be consistent. They also need to be healthy. And they're healthy as of right now. Let's get through training camp and see how all that plays out. But nonetheless, this isn't a bad team. And we're talking about it like it's just the worst team in all of Major League Baseball. That's a wild take. Gavin Lux is gone. There goes the season. That's where Shaw's at. I don't get that mindset. We'll be right back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Dayton's radio home for Buckeyes football. 1410 WING. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast: chance of light snow and 29 tonight. Snow showers and 34 Saturday. On Sunday, mostly sunny and 24. I'm Rick Schmidt for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Progressive Insurance can protect your home and auto. And you can save money when you bundle your home and auto. Get a quote at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Have you heard? Bath Creations has moved to their new location and showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton. This gives you even more opportunity to see the incredible amenities and craftsmanship Bath Creation offers. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful, modern bathroom that is safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or online at mybathcreations.com and get a new bath today.
Hi, this is Dr. Justin with Dayton Weight Loss Secret. Have you been asking yourself, what is the secret to getting my excess weight off fast and easy like a lot of other people seem to be doing? The secret is Dayton Weight Loss Secret. Our program helps you lose weight fast and easy with no exercise, no prepackaged meals, no drugs, and no surgery. No injections and no need to be hungry. Our program helps reset your metabolism to keep the weight off for good. Schedule your free consultation at DaytonWeightLossSecret.com.
When I started this, I was at 386 pounds. Like, I didn't feel bad, but I hurt. I don't hurt anymore. Pain's gone. The inflammation's gone. Swelling's gone. Everything's good. Blood works fantastic.
The Dayton Weight Loss Secret program has successfully helped thousands of people lose up to 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. Schedule your free consultation in person or virtually by calling 937-800-1070 or online at DaytonWeightLossSecret.com. Results may vary.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, and we are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. 1410 Wing AM is Dayton's radio home for Cincinnati Reds baseball. The Justin Kinner Show, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5, right here on 1410 Wing AM. But tomorrow we'll be doing a special Saturday edition of the show live at Reds Fest. Phil Castellini will kick off the show with me about 11:15, they said. Nick Kroll, president of baseball operations, and former general manager of the Reds, Brad Meter, potentially going to jump on with us as well. So Terry Francona, Excited for the show tomorrow, live from Reds Fest. If you haven't gone before, they renovated at the time, it was called the Duke Energy Convention Center, the Cincinnati Convention Center, all renovated. And it's the first time they've rolled out Reds Fest in the renovated convention center. So I'm looking forward to heading out there tomorrow to see all the changes. But no Reds Fest last year, and I'm glad they brought it back this year. No Reds Caravan this year. This has kind of replaced that. What I do not know, I have no clue. I do not know, like, if moving forward, this is going to be a January thing every year moving forward, or if this will come back in December and then the Caravan comes back next January and kind of get back on track. But I don't think that's going to matter because I don't think there's going to be a season next year anyways. You know, everyone freaking out because the Dodgers went out and got Kyle Tucker, deferred more money, $200 billion or $20 billion. I don't remember the number. It's a lot. But yeah. Baseball, it's broken. Ratings say otherwise, though. Playoff ratings through the roof, World Series ratings through the roof, regular season ratings. They were setting regular season records. I can't tell you how many times we refreshed social media last year, and new MLB graphics kept popping up talking about a record-breaking ratings weekend, a record-breaking attendance weekend. But nonetheless, we are back. The Reds trade Gavin Lux in a 3-team deal. He's now a Tampa Bay Ray, and the Reds, of course, they get a nice piece in return, and they add some depth, more depth to their pitching staff, to their bullpen. And they've added 3. It's been a very busy offseason for the Reds when it comes to that bullpen. It started whenever they were able to get that deal done with Emilio Pagan. I thought he was as good as gone, but they were able to, give him a 2-year, $20 million deal, $10 million a year. And they were able to get that done, which I thought was perfect. That's what the Cincinnati Reds really needed. They end up getting Pierce Johnson. They made that deal final this week. Their first splash of the offseason in the bullpen outside of Emilio Pagan, and his return was the addition of the lefty Caleb Ferguson. And then they got another lefty in Brock Burke yesterday. So Caleb Ferguson, Brock Burke, 2 dominant lefties in this bullpen. Sam Maul, returning Red, another lefty, a solid option when healthy there. You bring back Graham Ashcraft. You have Tony Santillan, Emilio Pagan, Connor Phillips, is healthy. They've tried him out as a starter in the past. This is a really good, really deep bullpen. The Reds have a really good, really deep rotation. And the Reds have a middle-of-the-pack lineup. Justin, they are not a middle-of-the-pack lineup. They are horrible. No. Facts are facts. The numbers back this up. The Reds are a middle-of-the-pack offense. The only thing that the Reds are really, really bad at is hitting the long ball. And they did not address that this offseason. And I am not happy about that. I'm not happy that they didn't get Kyle Schwarber. I'm not happy that they haven't added a power bat. But I also know a couple things. The offseason's not done. Nick Kroll was asked, was the trade of Gavin Lux that freed up about $2.5–3 million to add to what they have left to spend? Was this done as a precursor to another move coming up as they potentially add a power bat or a position player? Here's what Nick Kroll had to say.
No, we're just still looking to add to our position player group. If we can, figure out how to use that money and get someone else. But we felt this was a good move for us, just adding a left-handed reliever.
So there you go. Add a really good left-handed reliever. It's giving them options. And let's see what happens. As is, this team can't hit the long ball. Ellie struggled with the long ball last year. We found out he was battling an injury all season. Sounds like an excuse. By the way, you could say, well, that's quite the excuse. I hope it is. I hope that was the excuse. I hope that the injury is why he didn't hit the ball to the ballpark last year. Because with him being healthy now, it sounds like, okay, cool, hit the ball to the ballpark. Matt McClain, power dipped, went away, skill went away. Oh, but he was hurt all year. Oh, they're just making excuses. I hope they were. I hope that was an excuse, and I hope it was a legit one, and I hope it was a real one. I hope the injury is why he didn't play well last year, because he's healthy now. Sal Stewart, he was on pace. If you take his numbers last year and run it through a full 162-game season, he was on pace for a 40-home run season. The Reds need that. I'm all for Sal Stewart in this lineup with Ellie De La Cruz and a Matt McClain and a Spencer Steer. Noelvi Marte, Became a very good hitter last year. Brian Hayes, I think we got so caught up in the fact that he was horrendous offensively when he was with the Pirates. All right, he hit about 235 with the Reds when he came back. Not great, but it wasn't the low 200s that he was hitting when he was with the Pirates, and that matches, that complements what he does as an elite Gold Glove defensive third baseman, arguably the best defensive third baseman in baseball. This team is not bad. You guys stop it with the lame negativity. We are now at the point we got dumped by Kyle Schwarber a month ago. It's time to move on. It is time to move on. He flirted with us. He told us how nice we were. He complimented our eyes. He complimented us all. He told us how pretty we all were, and we all fell for it. And we all got dolled up, and we went to go meet him for our little date. And then we got to the restaurant, and he wasn't there. He bailed on us. And we were upset and we're pissed off. But at some point, you got to get over it. You got to get over it. I'm so tired. Are we going to get to July and say, well, if we only had Kyle Schwarber? You got to get over it, my guys. Like, brother, what are we doing? I'm not happy that they didn't get Kyle Schwarber. But it's the reality. The reality is, well, they need to be spending more. I know. We all don't agree on much. But we all agree that we wish the Reds spent more. But we all know that they don't and they won't. So either switch teams, pick a new team, stop watching the Reds, stop listening to the Reds, stop going to Reds games, stop buying Reds apparel, stop buying Reds season tickets, stop going to the ballpark on those Saturdays when they're giving out the bobbleheads. Stop talking Reds then. Well, I know, I'm just angry. They need to spend. They're not going to spend. They're never going to spend. So stop wasting your time. This isn't about what they like. I'm done with they don't have this, they don't have that. We are now less than a month away from spring training games. This is about what's on the roster now. And what's on the roster now is the remains of what was a playoff team a year ago, and they're better today than what they were when they made the playoffs last year. I don't know what else to say. This team's not winning a World Series. But I tell you what, that rotation's good enough to win a World Series. That at least get to a World Series. Or at least get to the NL Championship, because you ain't beating the Dodgers. But you see my point. This rotation's good enough to get to an NL Championship. This bullpen's good enough to compete and go on playoff runs and get to an NL Championship. The lineup is not. They can't hit the home run. They're not getting to the NL Championship. They're not winning a World Series. Depending on on how it lines up or whatever, they could win a playoff series, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, are we doing this whole, unless this team is good enough to win a World Series, we're just going to be angry at all times? I'm content with what the Reds did. I'm not happy, but I'm not angry. I'm content. They didn't do nothing. They went out and added 3. I mean, they absolutely overhauled this bullpen. It's a legit bullpen. Pierce Johnson, phenomenal get. They got Emilio Pagan to come back. We thought there was no way in hell that they spent $10 million on him. Brock Burke, that's a heck of a return. Caleb Ferguson, Pierce Johnson, Emilio Pagan coming back. Graham Ashcraft, who was once a starter, moving to the bullpen last year, and one of the best relievers in all of baseball last year. Tony Santillan, took that major step forward. He's unbelievable. And you got your Sam Malls and your Connor Phillips and your supporting cast right there. Enough with the negativity. Enough with the negativity. You guys sound like we all know that we all have negative people in our lives. You guys sound like those people that, oh, you just won $1 million. You just won the lottery. Of course, no. I have to pay taxes. Sometimes you wear people out with your negativity. You guys are wearing me out with it. This Reds team's not winning the World Series. They're not great. But you guys talk about them like they're a bottom 5 team in baseball, and they're just not. Let's go to Waynesville. 937-518-1410. Travis in Waynesville. Sorry for the long wait. How are you, sir? Welcome.
Good. How are you, Justin?
Another day in paradise. It's Friday, so I'm in a great mood.
All right. Hey, you said it again. Schwarber doesn't make us a championship team. He gets us close, but he doesn't get us there. And I'm not mad that he didn't come. I would have liked for him to come because he's a hometown boy. but neither here nor there. Well, everybody's playing for second place anyway. If the Dodgers keep doing what they're doing, the Yankees are going to do it. The Red Sox are going to do it. The Mets are going to do it. LA's going to be one of those teams in the next 2 or 3 years. We know that too. So everybody's playing for second. I got an idea. Let's make it the rich and the not so rich leagues instead of the national and the American. And you put the people with 250 million salaries or above, or whatever the number turns out to be, and you put the other people on the other side and let them battle it out.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like the Big Ten and the SEC, and then everybody else. That's what that sounds like. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's high major and mid major basketball that's happening in Major League Baseball, and that's why Travis, it's going to be there's going to be a work stoppage. You know, there's going to be a work stoppage. This upcoming, this is going to be the last season. This is why I'm choosing not to be negative about this Reds team heading into 26, because it's going to be this opening day here in 2 months. It's the last opening day for 2 years. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy this season, or at least do my best. But you are right. Like, as of right now, it doesn't make any sense how baseball is set up. You know, it just doesn't. It can't continue. I guess it's continued this way for so long. To say that it can't continue is kind of crazy, but it is wild. As broken as everyone says it is, ratings through the roof, attendance back up, record attendance, revenue, all that, TV deals. Baseball is as popular as it's ever been for a sport that's broken, though. Travis, you still there? My guess is not. It's the Justin Kidder Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. David Shaw said, such a loser mentality. What's a loser mentality, Shaw? What's a loser mentality? What's your suggestion? What do you want Reds fans to do? What's a loser mentality, Shaw? I don't get what's a loser mentality. Even if they got, I mean, you act like, man, they should have got Kyle Schwarber. If they get Kyle Schwarber, are they winning the NL Central? They're not, because guess what? Their bullpen wouldn't be that good. And they're going to lose a lot of games late because they're going to get great starting pitching. They're going to score some runs, and then their bullpen's going to blow it for them. And then you're going to sit there and say, my God, this team, they don't do anything, blah, 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 blah. Adam Seldner on Facebook. My question is, how does Tito feel? He went to the World Series with the American League Ohio team, and his current front office won't commit. Guys, you do realize that the Reds front office is better than the Guardians front office, right? At least in regards to the money that they spend and the activity in the offseason. You do realize that the Guardians don't do anything. The only reason the only reason the Guardians were able to keep Ramirez is because he took a hometown discount. That was the only way. They were going to let him walk the way they let every one of their stars walk. The way that they let Francisco Lindor, they let him walk. They let every one of their stars walk. The Guardians are not a well-run organization, but they at least get results. So it's hard for me to sit there and say that they make all the wrong decisions. But what was the last offseason that the Guardians had that you felt that they were making moves to compete, to win? What was the last offseason that the Guardians had that made you feel that they were making moves to compete and win? When was the last time the Guardians said, we need to make a ton of changes this offseason to give us one of the best bullpens in baseball? When was the last time they did that? When was the last time that the Guardians had an offseason where they went and traded, for a Cy Young contending pitcher? Obviously, they, conveniently enough, the Reds get Trevor Bauer from the Indians. They went and traded for Sonny Gray. They spent money on Moustakas and Castellanos, right? Like, the Reds spend money situationally. The Reds are aggressive situationally. You don't want to admit it. This offseason actually has been pretty aggressive. I mean, they overhauled a complete bullpen. They took a bullpen that wasn't very good, and now it's one of the best bullpens in baseball. That's not a little thing. Bullpens are very, very important. Acting like them improving that is not that big a deal. It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. How many times do you complain because the Reds can't hold on to a lead, or because they give up runs late in games and blow leads and all this stuff? Like we complain every year about that. What was the last good offseason that the Guardians had? You can't name it. To their credit, they draft and they develop very well. But they They are a team, and I've said this before, 7 straight years they have finished in the bottom 5 in baseball in spending. They do not give a rip about the fans when it comes to trying to spend, to be aggressive, to put a competitor out on that roster. That's why, 2 years ago, that was great that they made that run in the playoffs. Ramirez, all that stuff, they every single time they get a superstar player, they're not aggressive with that. Jose Ramirez. That's why, by the way, Jose Ramirez has already come out and said he's not. Jose, you have your star player ripping that organization saying, well, that's not what we really agreed upon. I agreed to take less money so that they could take that money and put it elsewhere, and they haven't done it. So, yes, now I'm forced to do my bad organization is better than your bad organization. Now, the Guardians have had way more success than the Reds, so it's kind of hard to say that that's a bad organization. But, guys, let me tell you, if you're pissed off that the Reds didn't spend money to go get a Kyle Schwarber, how furious would you be as a Guardians fan every single year when at least the Reds are spending money? The Reds have spent like the 19th, 18th most money in baseball. The Guardians are constantly in the bottom 5. They don't try. I want the results to start leading to winning games. But I don't want to hear Adam. I'm yelling at you, but I'm not yelling at you. Don't use the Guardians as an example. And Terry Francona, I wish he would be a little bit more. I think he should be more aggressive in throwing his weight around. Terry Francona is too good for the Reds, and he should be throwing his weight around. And I'm with a lot of people that Terry Francona seems to be very, well, I'll just manage who's here. It's like, I don't like hearing that. I was kind of hoping that being the ultimate competitor that Tito is, that he wouldn't stand for this either. But I think Francona also looks at this roster and says, man, I got a top 5 rotation in baseball. I got a top 10 bullpen in baseball. I have one of the hottest young players in all of baseball, and we have good players in this lineup. Not great, but we have good players. We're not far off. I think he's also realistic enough to see that he's not managing the Pittsburgh Pirates like so many of you would like to try to convince everyone that he is. Nonetheless. But it is what it is. Shaw says, let's break up the NL and AL because the Reds don't spend. Man, you're emotional today, Shaw. You're emotional. Let's break up the NL and the AL because the Reds don't spend. The Reds don't spend a lot. I can't believe we're doing this. You guys are exhausting today. It's the Justin Kinner Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, Cordell Transportation is now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers, excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply right now online at CordellTransportation.com. Do it right now. Driven to succeed.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. But wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
It's 2026. New year, new you, new resolutions to keep for a couple weeks. Whether you're trying to eat healthy in the new year or not, your best choice is Omaha Steaks. They have multiple bundles to choose from. They have an all-protein pack if you're trying to slim down or eat clean, consisting of butcher's cut filet mignon, air-chilled boneless chicken breast, boneless pork chops, classic burgers, and more. Everything you need for your freezer and meal prep. Or grab one of the other bundles that include potatoes au gratin and caramel apple tartlets. That sounds good. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. Every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. Save big on gourmet gifts and more holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com, and for an extra $35 off, use promo code SKY at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code SKY.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
he was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real. And I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
How do you stay humble when you're America's #1 wiper blade? That's what we're currently dealing with at Rain-X. Is it even possible to humble brag when you bully Mother Nature like we do? Do we sound too conceited if we keep repeating how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America? No, we'll take a lesson from our wipers and just keep doing our job with humility. As America's #1 wiper blade. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
Are you ready to tackle this tax season alone? Well, you don't have to. Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services, with its 30-plus years of experience, is here to help you with business and individual taxes, bookkeeping, and payroll, either in person, drop-off, or through their secure client portal. Belmont Business Consultants in Eaton and Dayton is standing by. Call them in Eaton at 937-472-3300 or in Dayton at 937-252-2217 or on the web at belmontbctxs.com.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show. Right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
Justin Kinner, 1410 ESPN Radio here on a Friday. 4:40 here in the Miami Valley. I hope everyone has some fun plans lined up for the weekend. We'll be live at Reds Fest tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The Justin Kinner Show live from Reds Fest. We'll kick off the show with Phil Castellini. Nick Kroll will be on. Nick Kroll in the Reds front office just made another trade to help bolster that bullpen. So we'll get a good feel for how all of that we'll get a good feel for how all of this kind of shakes out when it's all said and done. I think the Reds right now have a top 10 bullpen. They have a top 10 rotation. And they have a capable lineup. You guys are mad because they're not the Dodgers. I want them to be the Dodgers too. I want them to be the Mets. I want them to have explosive lineups, money everywhere, but that's just not how it works. Now, I got to do a little rant before, kind of burying the Guardians a bit, and I get that the Guardians have success, but I've also gone on rants before saying that sometimes when the Guardians win games, it's not good for baseball because it just shows other teams that see you don't have to spend money to compete in baseball. So that's my problem with the Guardians. So I think Adam Selner said, so we're live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page and the Justin Kinner Show YouTube channel. Adam Seltner said, my question is, how does Tito feel? He went to the World Series with the American League Ohio team and his current front office won't commit. And I guess everyone's definition of, and by the way, do I think that this Reds team has gone full committing to, no, but like, committing to what, I think, is the big question. Are you guys saying for the Reds to commit to win a World Series? Because if you guys have paid attention the last couple of years, I think it's damn near impossible. The Reds will never be able to compete financially to win a World Series. And you guys are all constantly doing it. Like, the reason I'm using the guard spend in my argument here is because Shaw called earlier and said, because the Reds aren't spending money, they're not trying to compete. But man, the Guardians, that's the team that the Reds need to be. You mean the team that the Reds outspend almost every year? And not almost every year, pretty much every year. I mean, right now I'm looking at payrolls by year. As we sit here right now, last season, the Guardians finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They had the fifth lowest payroll in all of baseball. In 2024, 1, 2, 3, the fourth lowest payroll in baseball. Let's go to 2023. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth lowest payroll in baseball. Let's go to 2022. 1, 2, 3, fourth lowest payroll in baseball. Oh, we're in 2021. 1, 2, oh, wow, look at that. Not as aggressive as the previous years. Third lowest payroll in baseball. Let's go all the way back to COVID. COVID was fun, shall we? Man, look at them. They were so aggressive that year. They were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not bad. Sixth lowest payroll in baseball in 2020. Man, oh man. How about 2019? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, look at us. Look at us moving up. They were spending right about in that Reds level, that 18, 17 range in 2018. Oh, there we go. Right back at the bottom. Right back at the bottom. Why are the Guardians just choosing not to compete and choosing not to spend? Now, some of those years, the Guardians are competing. I'm mocking the spending is what I'm doing. I get that they have been competitive. But based on everyone's logic here, that the only way that the Reds could get better is to spend money. But then you use the Guardians example to say the Reds need to be like the Guardians. Well, your logic is the Reds have to spend money to get better. So they need to be like the Guardians, who consistently spend way less than everyone else. Now, what makes them, what is stupid about the Guardians is also what makes them impressive, because they don't have to spend money to be competitive, which kudos to them. But that speaks to some of the fans' simplistic mindset about how this works. The Reds are bad because they're not spending money. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. The Reds need to spend more money. The Reds need to be more aggressive. This window is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and I think that they're missing out on an opportunity. Don't get me wrong. I'm not letting him off the hook, but I'm also not going to sit here and say, if they don't spend money, they are the worst team in baseball. They are not the worst team in baseball. This is still a pretty damn good baseball team. The whole theme of this offseason has been, we are going to focus on more on who's not on this roster than who is. And who is on this roster, guys, think about where we were 6-7 years ago. We would have killed for a legit top 10 rotation, a top 10 bullpen. We would have killed for an Elly De La Cruz. This organization, Nick Krall and company, they have provided us, whether it be through trades, whether it be through drafting, spending money in the international market too. This has been a completely different organization over the last 7 years. They did a complete overhaul. They invest a ton into the international, scouting department. They just had a very impressive day yesterday. They signed a very impressive international prospect, which we'll talk about more in a bit. The Reds are aggressive situationally. I mean, when they had Luis Castillo, they made the trade to go get Trevor Bauer. They made the trade to get Sonny Gray from the Yankees. They went out and got a Mike Moustakas, which didn't work, but he was the best third baseman free agent that season. A lot of teams were lining up to try to get him. They got Nick Castellanos. He was so damn good. That was such a good get by the Reds front office that you guys were pissed that they didn't keep him. But the Reds never do anything in the offseason. And to be honest, everyone thought the sky was falling when the Reds moved on from Jesse Winker. You guys wanted to storm the Capitol like it was January 6th whenever they moved on from Jesse Winker. Stick to sports, maybe a little far, but you see my point. You guys remember that day when they traded? Not January 6th. We're moving on from that. Do you guys remember the day they traded Jesse Winker? It led to the infamous "Where are you going to go?" interview with Phil Castellini, who, by the way, is going to be my opening guest on the Justin Kinner Show tomorrow at 11 a.m. At Reds Fest, by the way. Moving on from Jesse Winker was actually very smart. Can't believe they traded Jonathan India away. What a dumb move. That worked out pretty damn well as well. Oh, man, they traded Eugenio Suarez. That was such a dumb move. Yeah, Eugenio Suarez is very good now. You guys were furious every time his name popped up in the lineup in that final season and a half that he was with Cincinnati. Every time you guys get angry about the Reds moving on from somebody, they've made the right decision. And when they move on from those guys, they've replaced them with up-and-coming prospects. Yes, but those prospects are usually pretty good. The Reds have a very good farm system now. The Reds have turned into more years need to come about where they're winning games with these said prospects, but like they're off to a good start. Oh, they're never aggressive. They went out and got the best manager in baseball last year. They're never aggressive. They need to be more aggressive. They need to be better. I don't feel like they're being as aggressive as they should, considering the fact that the NL Central is not very strong right now. You do have Ellie De La Cruz. You have a top 5 rotation in baseball. They need to be more aggressive. My point to every one of you is stop talking about this team as if they are a bottom 5 team in baseball, because they are not. They're not. Nonetheless, we'll have a lot of Reds talk tomorrow at Reds Fest as far as that goes. But I do have to be on my best behavior tomorrow. And Kinner, you're being extra positive today. Maybe I'm practicing for tomorrow. I don't know. But I also know that this is around the time of year where I usually start to get really excited about baseball season, and y'all are ruining it for me. And the Reds are making good moves. You're just mad because they're not making the move you want. We're done with baseball. All right. Let's see. 937-518-1410. You could text or call into the show, and I'll read your text in the show. You can also leave your opinion, and of course, in the comments in the Justin Kinder Show YouTube channel or the Justin Kinder Show Facebook page. Leave it in the chat, and I'll respond to you there. Okay. I want to switch over to college basketball. So tonight, Dayton welcomes in Loyola. Dayton 13-6 on the season. They're 4-0, sitting atop the A10. Dayton is a 16.5-point favorite. So Dayton just played Loyola a couple weeks ago on the road. Now, Dayton is still shorthanded. I have not seen an update if they're getting their bigs back tonight. Dayton's surprisingly right now 4 straight wins. There was a good Duquesne win on the road the other night. It wasn't pretty. None of these games have been pretty. But to Anthony Grant and Dayton's credit, usually the ugly games, especially on the road, in A10 play, it doesn't usually result in a positive outcome. To their credit, while being beyond shorthanded, not playing their best basketball, getting every team's best shot, they've been coming out with some wins. They've won 6 of their last 7. They've won 4 straight. They're 4-0 in A10 play, and they're on ESPN2 tonight, 8:30, the tip-off. And they're the stealth. Have you guys seen the jerseys that they're kind of, that they're breaking out? I think they're pretty dang cool. I think that those look freaking cool. My thing with Dayton is I wish it would be more focused on just winning the games, and just like I think that's what you fans want more than anything. Just win these games. We don't need the light blue jerseys. We don't need these stealth black jerseys or whatever. But they are pretty dang cool. They do look pretty good here tonight. The one thing I wish Dayton would do, switch the court out too. I know that's way over the top. I get that, but man, can you imagine if they had if they rolled out a court that would match the jerseys that they're rolling out those nights? That'd be pretty dang cool. But either way, Dayton needs another one tonight. They have a good chance to get to 5-0 against a team that they're heavily favored over. I do not expect Dayton to cover. Dayton's going to play ugly. They always do, especially as of late. But I do think they're going to come out on top. I think this team's playing. I know this sounds weird. Dayton is playing very good, ugly basketball. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. But they're playing very good, ugly basketball. They've won 4 straight. They're going to make it 5 in a row, and they're sitting atop the 8. They're going to be sitting atop the A10 or tied atop the A10. And they have a little stretch here as well. I mean, they're playing a lot of really bad teams. St. Joe's, they're 11-7, but they're 3-2 in A10 play. You got Loyola tonight at LaSalle on the 21st, at St. Joe's. Rhode Island. I think they're kind of over all Archie at this point. But that one against St. Louis, that's going to be big time coming up. And you're on the road at St. Louis on the 30th. You got St. Louis at UD Arena. If Dayton is in the mix for one of the top seeds in the A10 tournament, at that point, UD Arena is electric even when the no-name teams are in town. I can't imagine the atmosphere at UD Arena on the 24th of February when St. Louis comes to town. But you got 2 at St. Louis. George Mason, you'll be at George Mason. There's going to be some quad one opportunities. I think it's unlikely that this team wins enough games to get back into the at-large conversation. but it really truly is about trying to finish as high up in the seeding as possible to get those buys, because this team just doesn't win the A-10 tournament. So if this is going to be the year that changes, they have to make sure that they're playing as little amount of games in the A-10 tournament when that time gets here. But I'm expecting a fun atmosphere at UD Arena like there is every night, but tonight especially. They're breaking out the jerseys, 1-4 straight, playing good basketball nonetheless. Wright State, they were in action last night. They got the big win last night against Youngstown State. Wright State has won 7 straight. They're 7-1 in Horizon League play, and their only loss in Horizon League play was back on December 2nd against Youngstown State, who they beat by 10 last night. That was a weird game. Nice crowd on hand last night. It was Military Appreciation Night. It just was one of those where every time I look up, I'm like, man, Wright State has to be up by like 10 or 12 right now, 10, 12, 15 points, and then they're tied, or they're only up by a possession. They dominated the first half. I know this sounds really silly. Dominated the first half. They're trailed by 1 at halftime. It was the weirdest thing. It was just one of them weird games, but they came out. They were the better team. That Wright State's really good, guys. They're really good. They got a game against Cleveland State next Wednesday night, and then the homecoming game against Northern Kentucky a week from tomorrow. And, man, this city, Dayton, Wright State, Dayton's made the tournament, 19 times? Wright State's made it 4 times. They have never made the NCAA tournament in the same season. They have never made the NCAA tournament in the same season. Maybe this is that season. Maybe this could be that year. But Wright State's good. They're the best team in the league, at least as we sit here right now. But it doesn't matter. I get it. It doesn't matter what you do in the regular season. It all comes down to that conference tournament. One bad night, your season's over. But Wright State, to me, I've seen all the teams that they've told me are the best teams in the league. We've seen them already. Wright State's, they look better than them. I mean, they punch these teams in the mouth. I mean, this roster is deep. There's 2 guys that don't play. I'm a big Alex Brustcotter fan. Got a chance to see him play UD Arena in the state tournament. He was, runner-up for Mr. Basketball. The guy's unbelievable. And he's sitting at the end of the bench right now, not getting minutes, and he's as deadly of a three-point shooter as I've seen. He can't get minutes right now because of the depth of Clint Sargent's team right now. And they're winning games. They've been without they got Michael Cooper back yesterday, who's their leading scorer. He's a true freshman. And he's been out for the majority of this 7-game win streak. They didn't miss a beat. Michael Amarabe, their 6'8", 6'9" center, who's just absolutely dominant for them, and he's their second leading scorer. He was out last night. They didn't miss a beat without him either. That's the depth of this team. Wright State, Dayton, this could be the year. We've never seen them both make the tournament at the same time. How cool would that be if this ends up being that? I'd be down for it. But Dayton has to win quite a few more games in a row to kind of get back into that at-large conversation. So nonetheless, we'll see how that all plays out. We'll see how it all plays out. But that does wrap it up for us. Man, that kind of flew by a little bit. But either way, the NCAA First Four returns to the epicenter of college basketball. The fun begins Selection Sunday, March 15th, with 2 family-friendly events. Join the big hoopla for the 4-miler race and then bring the family to the free STEM challenge, both conveniently located at Wright State University. It all leads to the NCAA First Four at UD Arena, March 17th and 18th. The First Four, Dayton, and the big hoopla. Details at DaytonHoopla.com. Dayton and Loyola tonight. Dayton a 16.5-point favorite. That game's going to be on ESPN2. That's an 8:30 tip-off coming up later on tonight. Hopefully the Flyers can keep it rolling. Then they have LaSalle next week on the road, St. Joseph's on the road, Rhode Island. Dayton can win these next 4 very easy. This team could be undefeated in A-10 play, setting up what will be an unbelievable showdown at St. Louis on the 30th. Man, oh man. I want Dayton undefeated in A-10 play heading into that game at St. Louis. Because if they're undefeated in A-10 play heading into that St. Louis game, that game becomes so massive, because to me, that's the bubble game. You're playing that game. You're playing that game. You win that game, you're back in the at-large conversation. They're going to be favored against Loyola. They're heavily favored tonight. I don't think Dayton covers. I think it's going to be ugly, but I think that they win. They're going to win by double digits ultimately. They'll pull away, but we'll see. LaSalle, give me Dayton. St. Joe's, give me Dayton. Rhode Island, especially, give me Dayton. That's going to be at the arena. But St. Louis, that game on the 30th. Dayton could be 8-0 in A-10 play. That would be massive. That'd be massive. All right, folks, good stuff. Have a great weekend. I hope to see as many of you Reds fans or If Shaw's a Reds fan, I can't really tell. But I hope to see as many of you Reds fans as possible at the Convention Center tomorrow for Reds Fest. It's going to be a good time. We kick off the show with Phil Castellini. Nick Krall's going to join us. We'll talk about all the trades and the moves that they've made this offseason. And it sounds like there's another move up their sleeve. We'll talk about all of that with Nick Krall on the show tomorrow from 11 to 1. Special Saturday edition of the show, the Justin Kinner Show live from Reds Fest. Have a great weekend. Talk to you on Monday.
The Justin Kinner Show. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
IHOP's value menu is here. Enjoy breakfast,